You know, 95, we discussed this before. I think we both agreed that was your best combination of size, detail, dry.
So yeah, I mean, after 94, obviously, you know, this previously unbeatable guy now is a chink in the armour, you know, because I think 93, everybody came to the contest looking for second place. Second place in 93 was first place in the minds of many of my competitors. So 94, I turned with the torn bicep, which is obviously goes against me. Now, maybe, you know, there's a chink now in the armour, maybe we can beat him. And, you know, Sean in his usual fashion started rabbiting away, which was great for me. Thanks for the motivation, Sean. Maybe he doesn't remember, but he was like, you know, Dorian's finished now. Maybe he can do guest posing and stuff like that. Yeah. Next year I wanted to show everybody that I could pull it together. You know, the circumstances were against me in 94, but I still won the contest. But now, 95, I had a good year of training, and everything came together. And I think it was the best combination. Still the size of 93, but there was a bit more refinement, more detail in the back and stuff. Started using a bit more machines, which I was kind of forced into doing that for the injuries, but it had an effect on the physique where I was doing more isolated stuff, perhaps. So if you were to ask me which was the best year, the Mr. Olympia, I'll literally take a coin and toss it between 93 and 95. 95, the physique was a bit more detailed, but in 93, obviously, I didn't have the torn bicep, so I was happy with both years. They were the best years as far as getting ready and everything, you know.
And then 96, this was the Olympia was a diuretic test, and the thought was, well, Dorian's obviously full of drugs, he can't do anything without drugs, and you were the driest guy in the show.
Yeah, well, I only ever used a very small amount of diuretics, and it was, for me, it was more or less like an insurance policy, you know, in case something happened and you hold a bit of water. It wasn't something I needed because, you know, it's documented. You can see the pictures of my physique 2 or 3 weeks out from the contest. Didn't need it. So when the test came in and guys were going to test it for diuretics, I thought great, because I don't really need them anyway, so it's not going to make much difference to me. And actually, again, strategically, I came in that year a little bit lighter and sharper, because I thought, hey, these guys that don't have the diuretics now, they're going to be struggling, they're going to come in soft. So that was kind of the tactic there. But yeah, it didn't make much difference to me.
And that was the year you did 3 legs of the European tour, the same as in 94. Tell us about what happened in 94 in Spain, or in the week following that Olympia.
Yeah, 94. I got home from the Olympia in 94, and because actually, I mean, I'll do a Samir Banot here. The day before the Olympia in 94, I actually looked a lot better than I did on the contest stage. I got up in the morning, I had some like bloating in my stomach. I don't know if it was some kind of from something I ate or something. Anyway, so I was holding water in the morning that I wasn't holding the previous day. And when I got back to England, I was still suffering from vomiting and sickness and everything. And I called Wayne DeMille, who was organising the Grand Prix, which I was scheduled to do, and I explained the situation. I said, look, I'm feeling really sick here and everything, I don't feel great. And of course Wayne said, okay, if you don't feel great, don't do it. We don't want anybody getting sick or anything like that. And then I got a phone call a little bit later on from Ben Weider saying the contest promoters in Europe are threatening to sue and everything. I don't compete. So I was getting contradictory messages from the federation. So in the end, I thought the best compromise would be, because I was still being sick and everything, wasn't healthy, to try and push myself. So I called the promoters and I said, what I'll do, I'll come to the contest and I'll appear for no fee as a guest poser, so the fans won't be disappointed that, you know, I've been on the poster, I'm not going to be there. So that was the plan. And actually I was that sick, if I ate or if I drank, I was throwing up. So in the end I decided, okay, I won't eat and I won't drink then. And the first contest in the 3 contests in a row, the first one was Spain. So I was travelling out there with the intention of guest posing, as you know. And Spain, being Spain, actually my flight was late, and we got to the hotel about 7, and I think the contest was starting officially about 7:30. But fortunately, due to Latin timekeeping, it wasn't going to start for a couple of hours. So I got to the contest, got to my room, and realized, you know, the guys were still in the hotel. They hadn't gone to the contest yet. And I looked in the mirror and I thought, yeah, I haven't eaten for a couple of days, but actually I look pretty damn good. So let me give Peter a call. And I said, Pete, come to the room and tell me, what do you think? And I think you said something like, you can go on stage for free, or you can go and get 10 grand. So I tried to get the 10 grand. I think Kevin was a bit disappointed.
Well, you put me on the spot, because it was like, you know, this is Mr. Olympia. If I give him the wrong advice, he's going to be undermined. And you probably don't know this either. When we got backstage, I mean, I thought you were good enough to win, because you were out very sharp. You were a bit flatter because there's nothing inside you. Yeah. But I saw Kevin backstage, and he was much better than he was the week before. And I had this, and I was watching him, and I thought, oh, if they could stand next to each other, and then you both went to the same mirror, and I thought, okay, yeah, we're all right. Because I was going to say, no, let's not, just do the guest spot. So that's something, but you got through that. And
I got through that. Actually got through 3 days on the road with sickness and diarrhea. So I think I was just sipping water. I wasn't eating anything for 3 days. We did Spain, Germany, and UK, England, in 3 days in a row. So won 3 pro bodybuilding contests without eating anything for a few days, basically. So I did look sharp, because I'm not eating anything, but it affect your fullness and everything a little bit. But yeah, managed to pull it off.
So let's go to 97. It was your last year, but you didn't know that. Was it 3 weeks before the contest you had the injury?
Well, there was not only the injury, actually. I'll be honest now. Now looking back, I can analyse things a little bit better. 97 was the first time that this whole thing started to feel like a job. I'm like, this is starting to feel like a job now, you know. And I'm like, going through 97, I'm like, I'm going to give this my best shot. But as for next year, I really don't know. That was already the frame of mind I was in. And then 6 weeks out from the contest, I started coughing up blood, and we went to doctors, went to a hospital, and they found that I had broken a blood vessel somewhere at the top of my stomach and esophagus, and I had to go to a hospital. I had internal bleeding, had to have blood transfusion. Now I look back, it was very serious, but at the time all I was asking the people at the hospital is, listen, when can I leave, because I need to go to the gym. One of the doctors took my wife aside and said, look, you better tell this guy he's not going to the gym anywhere. He's nearly just died. I don't think he realizes. But of course you're in such a tunnel vision, you don't see these things, you know. So I had a specialist working with me, and he found the reason for this stomach bleeding was an anti-inflammatory drug I'd been given by a doctor for shoulder pain, and he told me that I should never be on this drug more than 6 weeks, and I'd been prescribed for 18 months. So a prescribed anti-inflammatory medication from my doctor caused me serious health problems, put me in hospital. Yet, you know, 15 years of taking anabolics and whatever we need to do for bodybuilding was never a problem. So it's kind of a little bit ironic that's the only health problem I ever had from the sport, and that was from you know, doctors prescribed medicine. So I was in the hospital for about, I think, 3 days, had a couple of blood transfusions, and even right up to the contest, which was 6 weeks later, I was having regular blood tests, and my hemoglobin levels, you know, red blood cells and oxygen carrying capacity, and probably would affect muscle fullness and everything, was still not back to normal after 6 weeks. So that was a major hurdle. I had that, and then I'd had elbow pain, tricep tendon inflammation all year round pretty much, and I went to see a specialist who gave me some advice to have a cortisone injection, which was probably not the best advice, because cortisone takes the inflammation down, of course, but it also further weakens the tissue, and if you've got a tendon that's probably damaged and already weakened, but UK, as you know, is not like the States. They don't have a lot of strength sports. They don't have American football and all this stuff where they have a lot of specialists that used to dealing with strength athletes. My guy was a specialist who worked for Aston Villa football soccer team. So he's used to dealing with soccer players and ankles and knees and stuff like that. So he gave me the injection and told me, like, you can go train, but just train a bit lighter. So he probably didn't realize that training a bit lighter is not incline pressing 440. In my mind, it was 400. You know, just back off a little bit. And I was 3 weeks out. I was doing some tricep exercises, pullover and press, and on the stretch part of the pullover, which I wasn't using a lot of weight. It was just this injury had been an accumulation, you know, obviously getting weaker, and I think the cortisone weakened the tissue. So I was doing a pullover exercise, and bang, I mean, it was like everyone in the gym heard it, you know. Bang, the tendon went, and then, you know, 6 weeks out with a bicep tear was bad enough. But now we were almost full tendon detachment, 3 weeks out, and again, I was, you know, considering the possibility that I wouldn't be able to do the contest. I would have to drop out, and but we've been here before, right? Yeah. 94. So what do? Do your best. Yeah. Do whatever you can do, and if you're not happy with what you've got the day before the contest, or what, you know, I always had the option of, you know, bowing out then, I guess. But so 3 weeks I couldn't do any training. Literally I couldn't train. It was very difficult for me to raise my arm up like this. It was very difficult for me to pose. I couldn't do any training in the last 3 weeks. So all I did was cardio. Just carried on with the cardio, carried on with the diet. Usually before a contest I would be doing like 45 minutes to an hour a day posing as well, hard posing, you know, like which helped condition, it helped my control on stage. I was never one of these guys on stage that was huffing and puffing and bending over and all this stuff, because I practiced all that stuff, you know. I was conditioned to doing it, and I couldn't do it this time. I couldn't even risk posing, because just the tensing and the posing, I was afraid it could further damage this injury, which apparently when I went to New York they gave me an MRI. The tendon was about, well, it was like 98% detached, so it was literally hanging on by a little thread. And yeah, I kind of lacked my usual focus and the confidence going on stage in '97, because I was like, I just want to get through the contest without further damaging the elbow. And I was very cautious in the pose down and stuff, because sometimes you get contact, bang elbows or something by mistake, and I was afraid to do that. So I was not really my usual laser focused confident self, and yeah, but in the end we got through it. So.
And that showed the true warrior spirit. I mean, Dorian, if I can say, you're still the same 23-year-old in the mental attitude that you had then, you have now. You've not become an egomaniac, and you will always be the ultimate warrior.